Sorry, I have like 500 tabs open. I have to get rid of some of these. Okay. All right, we are all set. So, last time we left off, you guys went to see some libraries in Bisayas Teal in your first evening there. You went back to Adakora's mom's house to have dinner. You talked to Torquil, you talked to Honolulu a little bit. And then the next morning, your second day in the city, a few of you, Ophelia and Antimony, went to meet Eleni to get a fun tour of some of her favorite places. And you met Althea, her sort of boss slash academic advisor, who is an expert on the history of Malaysmere, as well as, you were told sort of in confidence, a cleric of Coralon. And then we hadn't really done Adakor and Sahar, but you guys were planning to go to the center of town and just kind of, I don't know, were you guys going to hang out there until stuff started or what? I don't remember.
Yeah, grab a good seat close to the front.
Okay.
No, yeah, I wanted to scope it out a little bit.
Cool. Okay, and the rest of you, I think, we're going to head back there around noon for when the event starts, because you were going to observe sort of on behalf of the Cobalt Soul, not being super obvious about it or anything, but Torquil basically was like, yeah, you guys should keep an eye on this and let us know what happens, because this could get, whatever happens here could potentially be important, depending on whether or not there is any conflict. Okay, so we're going to start with Adakora. You and Sahar, she's just following you. She doesn't really know where anything is.
Yeah.
But do you guys just head like right to the center of town pretty much?
Yeah, casually.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no real hurry, but
Very casually. Yeah. Sahar has left her armor and her shield back at your mom's house. She's wearing like very nondescript, sort of plain clothing. But she does have her sword. You saw her kind of strap and then put her big cloak on over it. And it does a pretty good job of hiding it. You can't really tell that there's a sword back there unless you like are looking for it, which you know it's there, so you can tell. But
does she keep the hood up?
No, she's not keeping the hood up. You see her kind of think about it and decide not to. Like maybe that would look a little suspicious in the middle of the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's morning. It's not that sunny. It's not that cold either.
I'm not going to say anything particular to her right off the bat. I do want to see what the situation is in the center of town right now, though.
Yeah. So right now it's only a little bit more crowded than usual. It's kind of like the typical amount of foot traffic still, but there's definitely some setup going on. So in front of, I think I said there's like a big building that is sort of the home of the local Elven government in Visayas Teal, the one that was constructed for like the council before the empire took over. So there's that building. It's very beautiful and in the style of Visayas Teal architecture. It's kind of built around a tree. And then there's a sort of like platform stage sort of thing outside, basically, for outdoor speeches. If if anyone, if like the council is addressing a larger group of people. And you remember this from your childhood. Um, there weren't necessarily a lot of major speeches, or at least like not ones that you went to see, because you weren't really involved in local politics as a teen or child, and the
Fun
political
family outing. Let's go listen to the bear and give a speech.
yeah, yeah. And I think, okay, I've tentatively decided that Adacor, I've been trying to figure out the timeline, if there's any indication of how long Visayas Steel has been part of the empire. Because the city was founded 250 years ago,
Hmm.
so it's some time shorter than that. So right now, I'm tentatively saying that the uh, that Adacor was born after the empire started ruling the city.
Okay.
So he doesn't even remember a time before that. But this area is also used for like festivals and things. In Winter's Crest or whatever, the whole place is decorated, and probably someone gives a speech to like open up the celebrations or something. So you're kind of used to those more festive occasions. But yeah, in this case, you see there are a lot more Crownsguard here than usual. There's there's like an equal number of watchkeepers, the Visayas Teal Guard, and people are kind of milling around. They're getting situated in different sort of points around the square. Like you can tell there are soldiers or guards rather stationed around to try to like observe the whole square.
Mhm.
And the roads leading off of it and up into the trees and stuff. If you look up, you can see some of them up there, which is not usual. The Crownsguard don't typically do a lot of patrolling up in the higher areas. But yeah, this place is pretty well surveyed right now.
Mm.
And you also see some of the Crownsguard are kind of setting up. There's another like a table or a booth kind of situation next to the stage area. And there you see a few Righteous Brand soldiers. Yeah, basically. I'm basing this off the one from with the Harvest Close in Zadash. Except they don't have an arm wrestling competition because this is a lot less fun. They're trying to be more serious. But yeah, it's this basically like a booth sort of, and it's kind of draped in like red fabric, and it's got the symbol of the Righteous Brand and the symbol of the Empire. It's sort of like pennants hanging down from this backdrop. Yeah, there's people moving stuff around, setting stuff up, and passersby are kind of like eyeing all of this as they go along. Although none of them look very surprised. This has been pretty widely disseminated among the population.
Mhm. Is there anybody other than me and Sahar who's obviously not Crown's Guard or a watchkeeper and is just kind of lurking around?
Um, Not really lurking. You see there's not really anyone you recognize. You see that the Starosta is here. He's talking to some of the Righteous Brand soldiers. But you don't see any other like non-elves yet who aren't like affiliated with the Empire, like soldiers or Crownsguard or the Starosta. And most of the elves who are stopping to watch aren't really hanging around. Like they might stand there for a little while and then move on.
Hmm.
You do see Melodora as well. She's kind of talking to a group of watchkeepers and seems to be going over, the where everyone's going to be positioned and
Uh,
things like that. Just doing some logistics.
Well, I don't really want to bother my mom. um, I'm gonna look for a place to hang out, sort of out of the way, but where I could still watch. Anywhere Krautsgard isn't already occupied.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Somewhere like that. Sit there, and then if they
there.
come by, I'm like, sorry, this place is taken.
There are definitely like areas to hang out in this sort of central area because there are a lot of public buildings around here. You've got the big lecture hall, and there are people coming and going from there. Like there's something going on in there probably. There's some libraries, some smaller libraries. There's some, I guess the schools that I said were in a different area. But yeah, there's people coming and going who aren't like guards or military or whatever. And there's probably some benches around, probably outside of the hall, the lecture hall.
Okay.
Because yeah, that used to be a temple, so I think it has like a garden area with benches, and you can just sit in there and hang out. And there's probably some benches around, like there would be in like a downtown of a city.
Okay. Well, I'll head sort of that way. Um, and while we're walking, I'll say to Sahar, just keep your eye out for anything suspicious.
Sure.
Like someone who might want to cause trouble, or say a deserter who didn't think that they'd run into more Righteous Brand here and is starting to get nervous.
She gives you like a glare out of the corner. She just kind of looks at you sideways, like, okay, you didn't have to say it out loud, and keeps walking. Or are you guys like at a bench yet, or are you headed
Well,
over?
definitely out of earshot of people.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. She like starts walking faster and goes to sit on the bench before you get there.
is is there room? Am I now not allowed to sit with her?
You can sit down. Yeah, it's like a 2 or 3 person bench. Well,
If you see anyone you think is likely to recognize you, we can leave.
I mean, I don't recognize any of them. And she kind of points her head towards the group of Righteous Brand. There's like maybe 12 of them there. And they're all kind of around the booth area. It's a big army.
Yeah, well, it's an empire, but still.
Yeah, it's still doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
So you've made me. What are you going to do about it?
Uh, Probably nothing. It's not really my business.
I thought you Cobalt Soul people thought everything was your business.
Point.
Please listen to you guys talk about the Cobalt Soul a lot.
Doesn't mean we have to report anything.
I don't suppose they would be interested in me anyway. Your superiors, whoever they are.
It's not really monk business.
Good. I don't have any useful information for them either. I mean, I don't know any state secrets. I didn't uncover any conspiracy.
Did she know any state secrets or uncover any conspiracy?
Make an insight check.
Ugh, well, terrible. 4.
You don't really see any reason to doubt her. She's not super good at lying, you have noticed, so
Yeah.
seems reasonable enough.
So what, you just didn't like it?
I had some personal trouble.
Hmm.
But that's not your business.
Okay. No, it doesn't really make a difference to me. I won't even tell Ophelia and Antimony if you don't want me to.
I would appreciate that. You don't think they figured it out?
Well, I wouldn't put it past them, but we haven't talked about it.
All right.
Again, it's not really something the Cobalt Soul would care about.
Good. So what's unusual around here? I mean, what am I looking for?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if someone was going to make trouble, this seems like it would be a good time to do it. But I don't know what that would look like.
Neither do I.
Do I have a concept of bombs? I guess I do.
You do probably. You've been to Hupperduke, so like
Yeah.
they have a lot of. Yeah, you had a whole quest that was like had some what's the word? Like gunpowder
Yeah.
secrets was kind of a plot point in your Humperdinck adventure. So,
Yeah, that's true.
oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, that's right. The
We're
jail got
looking
blown
out for mechanical lobsters that might be planting bombs. No, um, um,
But yeah, the Steel doesn't really have that technology as far as you know. It hasn't made it out here yet.
yeah,
But anything is possible, I suppose. There's also like magic, which can cause explosions sometimes or have similar effects.
yeah.
That
Although I
seems
feel
more
like
likely out here.
probably, if I'm
Oh no.
um, I'd probably assume that, like, if there was something like that, like a trap that had been laid in advance to go off, like, it probably would have already been done. So that's not necessarily helpful. I
Nope.
know where to look for it. I don't have detect magic.
You do not.
No,
You have the message spell.
I have message.
I admit I don't know anything about this place. So, I mean, all that stuff your mother said about the rest of the empire not really knowing or caring what's going on up here, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Not that I have been many places.
Is this the farthest you've been from home?
Yep. I hadn't actually finished my training, you see.
Hmm.
So I hadn't gone far from where I was trained.
Probably fewer ties to cut loose. Sorry.
I don't even know if I don't even know how many of my family members know, to be honest. None of them were in the city when I left. I don't know how quickly news travels to the front.
I don't really know what the process is. They contact your family or
After you desert, you mean? I don't know either. It's not really something I planned to do. This is s- sorry, this is the most I've talked or thought about any of this since it happened. It's only been a few weeks.
How?
I've been alone most of that time.
I feel like that would make it harder. You need something to distract you.
I mean, staying alive was pretty distracting. I learned some outdoor survival skills, but it was mostly the theory.
Oh, well, you're still alive.
Yep, and now I'm here. In a city full of people who don't like the Empire very much, where I stand out like a sore thumb.
Well, it's hard to deny that.
It's pretty
But
strange. Oh,
you don't stand out more than anyone else who stands out.
that's true, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I look just as odd here as Ophelia. I'm just. Is this. Did you feel strange when you left this place for the first time and you were the only elf in some places?
I kind of enjoyed feeling strange, I think. It was different.
I don't think I like it very much. At least I don't like being stared at and noticed.
You need to switch classes and become a rogue. The proper way.
Just sneak everywhere. When someone finally catches you, it's not going to be suspicious at all. It's like, why are you hiding? What are you doing lurking around here in the shadows?
I think there are spells and shit that let you disguise yourself, but I don't know much
I
about
don't
that. Atticor says because he
know.
doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, magic's not big where I come from. I don't really want wizards in the army.
Hmm. Well, they've got a whole other branch for that.
I suppose they do, but I don't know much about that either. You're from the capital, right? Or that's where you've been living anyway?
Yeah. Yep. Cobalt Solenox syndrome. If you come back down with us that way, then what? Then what do you do?
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking about just disappearing into the wilderness. But after wandering around this forest for a while, I'm not sure how much of that I could take.
And it's getting colder.
I'd get eaten by a spider sooner or later.
We can't have that. I mean, you've seen the size of them. They've clearly got plenty to eat. Need to
Ugh,
be.
yeah. They're probably eating those boars.
That's a horrifying thought. Why would you say that?
Sorry, just popped into my head. I wanted to inflict it on you so I didn't have to suffer by myself.
Ugh.
I don't know what's worse, getting eaten by a spider or tried for treason.
Ugh, I don't want to think about that either.
Oh, I'll deal with that when I have to. You could pull a Hanalora and be like, you should join the Alcatraz. Although I don't know how well that would go.
Consider this. I know you just got out of the Imperial Network, but and you can't lie.
I've got a job for you where it will be very useful for you to never see your family again. In fact, they prefer that.
Oh boy.
Do you
You can
agree
get
with
on a ship,
them?
go to Nicodranus.
I think you go to Nicodranus on foot, don't you?
Do you? What am I? Well, I was thinking the Menagerie Coast broadly. It's just Nicodranus that came out of my
Oh,
mouth.
okay.
But
I think the only ocean is like super far north, like north of the Sayestiel. There's like a very cold, small ocean border. Otherwise, I think the way most people get from the Empire to the Menagerie Coast is through that like pass in the mountains in the south
okay,
that the Nine go through.
so the Empire doesn't have a coast.
It's very small.
I've never been completely clear on that because I feel like they sailed
I'm gonna
one to
find
the
a
other
map.
somewhere, but I don't. But I could be wrong because they definitely have gotten there on foot before as well. Definitely. Um,
I think I posted a relevant map on here.
well, you could not get on a boat and go to the Menagerie Coast.
Okay, they have a pretty sizable coastline, but it's like all ice.
Okay. Okay.
It's way up north. I think you can sail from there to like uh, Islecross, but I don't know that you would. I think that the faster way is to the Menagerie Coast is on land because it's like all mountains in between.
Okay. You could get on a horse.
I think they're keeping a pretty close eye on the border right now.
Yeah, probably.
But it's a nice thought.
Nice beaches there, so I hear. Also, something about what was it Ophelia said about like getting dangled over the side of the ship?
What? I
Some,
don't remember.
hold on. Ophelia said something about like childhood stories.
Ophelia's weird,
Terrible.
suspiciously strange childhood boat stories.
Yeah, so many childhood boat stories. Okay, yeah. Top of my notes several pages ago. Ophelia definitely said she grew up on pirate stories about getting thrown overboard and ghost shit.
Okay. That sounds very exciting.
You use the words pirate stories in quotes. I have them in quotes.
That could mean stories about pirates,
That's true.
not necessarily stories told by pirates.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys just kind of sit there and continue to observe. As it gets closer to speech time, there are sort of like people start to gather a little bit um, in groups and like stand around talking, kind of waiting for something to happen.
As it's getting closer to time, I'll try out message a couple of times and see if Ophelia or Antimony are like in range. I don't expect them to be, but like if they were to be, then I just tell them where we are.
Okay. What are you guys doing right now?
I don't know, getting toured?
Yeah, I think we're still probably with Eleni.
Okay. I don't remember. Was there anything in particular you guys wanted to do or see?
No. I wanted to go look at concerts, but Ophelia wouldn't want to.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Eleni might drag you to one anyway.
Hell yeah.
I think she's not like a musician herself, but she really likes watching live music. It's a big thing in Bisay's too.
Nice.
And they've got some kind of weird instruments that are not common elsewhere in the Empire. I'm gonna find my favorite weird instruments. Yeah, you go see a concert of someone playing one of these.
It's, oh.
It's a fiddle with keys on it.
Wow.
That's what it's called in real life. It's like Scandinavian. They're just very cool looking. And they sound really cool. It's Swedish, okay, yeah. So yeah, someone's playing one of those and someone is singing. And it's like some it's probably new compositions. I think there's probably a fun like classical composition culture in Visayas Teal.
Wow.
So it's sort of in a style, like they have their own like classical elven music style that was developed in Malaysmere. But people are still composing new stuff and like elaborating on it. So this is someone's new composition for Naglhadra voice.
Nice.
And it's in Elvish.
Are there like lots of people hanging out?
Yeah, it's not super crowded. It's in kind of a small recital hall. It's like the middle of the day. This is probably, you know, a music student's recital, basically. So yeah, there's a decent audience here, but it's not a big performance space.
Is it like the culture today where it's like silent and then you clap and you like don't clap for movements? Because I feel like the Menagerie Coast is very old school where like people talk all the time through the concerts.
I think in this venue, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And it's a long. It's probably there probably aren't any movements. It's probably like the whole piece is like an hour or something.
Wow.
And there isn't a stop. So
Did we watch the full performance?
sure, if you wanted to. Eleni will take you to the full performance. If you like really want to leave in the middle, I suppose you can, but people are kind of coming and going, but like quietly. I don't know, they have class or something. They come to see part of their friend's recital and then they have to go to class.
I would be so depressed if my friends left in the middle of my performance. But I suppose I understand.
But yeah, it's quiet in here, and then once the piece finally ends, there is applause.
Yay.
And a lot of the audience like go up to talk to the performers and like congratulate them and stuff.
We're not doing that, right?
Hopefully not.
Okay.
No, Eleni doesn't. A lot of
Okay.
a lot of the people in here like seem to know each other.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the audience was probably knew the performers, but Eleni doesn't. She just leaves after clapping.
All right. That probably takes up.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
That probably takes up a hefty chunk of our time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how long we're touring.
I think you guys met up with her at like 9, I said, so a few hours if you want to get back there before 12.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she takes you to meet Althea, and then she takes you to the concert, and then she probably just takes you to like her favorite libraries and lecture halls and things. you run into some people that she knows. She introduces you to several, uh, mostly like elves who look about her and Adakora's age. You guys have trouble telling how old they are, but they seem like students. They seem like her sort of friends and peers for the most part.
If we get introduced to a lot of people, I want to start making it so that Antimony is in the front and not me.
Okay. I don't think it's not like every like couple of minutes you get stomped, but it's like maybe 5 or 6 people at some point that total that Eleni is like, oh, here's my friend so and so. They're all very interested in you guys because they kind of knew what. Yep. And everyone like knew where Eleni was, so they're all like, "Oh my gosh, how you're back? How was your thing?" And she's like, "I'll tell you all about it later. These are my friends from the Cobalt Soul." But yeah, they're mostly pretty excited to meet you.
Yeah, Antimony can be in the front. That's cool.
She doesn't hang around too long to talk to any of them because she's kind of like, "Okay, I'm giving them a tour. I'll see you later." But yeah, it's you are sort of forced to socialize a little bit,
Ugh,
unfortunately.
I guess that's okay.
Oh god, that sounds like a nightmare. Wow. Student body president, yikes. Sorry, I'm just like imagining that. Yeah, sorry for you.
No, yeah, it was great. It was funny.
Wow. Oh man.
We're still friends. The last time I saw him, we went to a cider mill, and he found someone there that he knew from
Oh, no.
college. I went to college
Oh, no.
6 hours away.
Wow. Damn. Some people are just like that, and I don't understand them.
We just know everyone.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's not me.
I don't remember if you guys told Eleni what you were planning to do at noon or not.
I think we did. We were like, we want to go on the tour, but there's this thing we have to be there for.
Okay.
There's like a speech or something, and she was like, "What speech?" And we were like,
that's
I don't
right.
know,
Yeah,
some kind of thing."
yeah, whatever. Yeah, she like kind of hadn't heard about it, probably because she also just got back to town.
Hmm.
But yeah, no one seemed to have told her about the recruitment event.
Do like any of the people who come up to talk to her mention it? Are they like, "Oh, have you heard about blah blah blah, whatever"? Is there any like juicy gossip we got during
No, I
the
think
weird socials?
not any juicy gossip that you understand.
Ugh.
There's definitely some like they're like, "Wow, you were gone. So and so broke up with so and so," like that kind of.
Oh no.
But she's pretty good about like not talking for longer than like a minute or so. She's like, "Okay, I gotta go. Like, we'll talk about this later." She's not trying to have a whole conversation with her friends about people you don't know while you're there.
That's fair of her.
But yeah, none of these people have the vibe of like combatants. They all seem fairly scholarly.
Nerds.
Yes, these are not warrior librarians like some of the ones you know. But yeah, eventually, it gets close to noon,
Mm-hmm.
and Eleni, um, God, sorry, I probably skipped around in the recording too much and missed this. Did you guys like tell her about the recruitment thing? Or were you just kind of like, oh, a speech?
I think we mentioned recruiting.
Okay, cool. She's gonna once it sort of gets to be around that time, um, I think she's gonna go with you guys because she is sort of curious about it, even though she's also a little unnerved.
Eleni's gonna get recruited at the speech.
Yeah, yep, Eleni's gonna join the army.
Oh no.
But yeah, she's kind of like, I know you're sort of observing as Cobalt Soul members, but would it bother you if I just stood with you?
It would probably be better if you did. I don't think we're doing it like as an official in an official fashion or whatever.
All right. Well, I don't know. My trip to Braxentrum has made me. I think I'm a little more aware of what's going on now, and I want to know how it's affecting us here. I'd rather not just hide away from it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much opportunity to nowadays. Or there won't be, at least.
I suppose not. All right, we should go.
All right. Antimony, do you... I think you've cast it before. Do you have Detect Magic?
Good question. Let me...
Well, you can have prepped whatever you wanted to prep, obviously, this morning.
Let me see. I can just say that I've prepped it, sure.
Yeah, if you like didn't really prep spells last session when you woke up in the morning, you could just do it now. It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Because you could have planned for this last night.
I will claim that I have Detect Magic, yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, that would be a useful thing to have while you're sort of lurking.
Yeah, because I also have it, and I figured since we both don't have to burn a spell slot for it, I think we can just
I think so.
trade it off. One of us
Mhm.
does it and then another one does it. Then we get 20 minutes, and then you can prepare it while I'm casting the spell, and then I can prepare it while you're casting the spell.
Detect Magic is like ritual too, right?
Do artificers have ritual casting?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah,
I could do it without burning a spell slot.
Yeah,
you just have to sit there for 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
that's okay. That's why we're trading off. There's only 1 minute where we don't. No, wait, one action where we don't have it active. It's foolproof.
Yeah, that 6 seconds is going to make a difference,
Yeah.
perhaps.
The Cerberus Assembly is gonna come and like destroy all of the people in one round.
That would be quite something.
R.I.P.
But yeah, so I don't know if you want to start with it or if I want to.
I can start. I will I will take the lead on detect magic.
Okay. I also have other things I can do too.
Are you gonna cast it before you get down to the square, or now, like once you get there?
I feel like we should aim for like before it starts, but while we're there.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I feel like we don't want to waste it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing though is that casting ritual spells is a little bit obvious because you kind of have to sit there for 10 minutes and like draw circles and say words and concentrate.
That's true.
So you may or may not be noticed and approached about what exactly you're doing.
Maybe we can get Adakora to tell his mom, and then we can go like hide under the stage or something.
I love the idea of you hiding under the stage. Okay, so when you guys get there, when are you casting message at a core? Like close to the start time, or?
Yeah. As it's getting closer and I still don't see them.
Okay, yeah, at some point they're gonna get there. You guys arrive with probably like 15 minutes to spare. The nerd group
Wow.
does.
The nerd group.
I resent
The-
this statement.
The geek gang.
Wow.
No right to resent that.
Yes, I
you
do.
you really don't. Ayun's like, you can't be my cleric without being a nerd.
No.
It's not allowed. I'm the goddess of knowledge. You have to be a nerd. But yeah, you guys head down. You reach the center of town, and it's getting pretty crowded now. I don't think there's really like seating out here. It's just kind of the stage and like the open area in front of it. It's just kind of full of people standing around waiting for this whole thing to start. It's not a very, it's kind of a tense mood. Everyone pretty much knows what this is about and doesn't look thrilled about it. Like, this isn't, there's no festival vibes here. It's more like nervous and tense. But nobody's, nobody seems like they're about to, I don't know, start throwing hands that you can see.
When you guys get within 120 feet of me, let's say Tim hears, hey, are you guys here yet? We're in the garden on a bench. Did you see the merch tent?
Can I reply to this message?
Right, yeah.
I don't tell you if you can reply to the message, but you can.
Yeah. Yes, we are on our way. What's going on?
I'll cast again. Not much. It's not exactly a party.
Well, let's see, how do I want to say this? I'm trying to figure out like a reasonable way to just be like, be ready to throw hands if necessary.
I'm
Well, yeah,
really brought all of my
yeah.
weapons.
Yeah. Okay, you guys eventually manage to find each other in the crowd. At this point, you also, as you're going through, you do see some of the non-elven people who live in the city, who kind of mostly live in that like imperial established outskirts neighborhood. But they seem to have turned up as well, if only to hear what the Starosta has to say. But they're kind of on the edges of the crowd, just sort of watching. Waiting for something to happen. And I think where you guys are, you have a pretty good view of the stage, but it's also sort of far away. It's like almost on the opposite side of the square. But you can see on the stage. And let's see, I'm just gonna describe who's all there. Got some fun NPCs. Okay, so the Starosta, Uther Prent, he is up on the stage, sort of talking to one of the people next to him. Adakora, you of course recognize him. He was not in charge here back when you were a kid, because that was a long time ago by human standards. But he's been the Starosta here for about 20 years, which is a long time, you know, by Starosta standards. Or by human standards, at least. He is a human man in his early 60s. He's pretty tall. He's kind of formidable looking. He's like big and has like a sturdy build. You know, he used to be a Crown's Guard in his youth, and he has kind of kept up that like level of, not completely, but like he's kind of stayed in some sort of fighting shape since then. So he's a pretty like healthy looking 60-ish. And he just kind of looks, the few times you've seen him, he's always looked sort of almost angry.
Yeah.
He just kind of has that look on his face. And also on the stage with him, you see the three members of the council, the ruling council of Visayas Teal, the Ring of Three. I am going to put their names in the chat because Matt made them up. And I do not know how to pronounce them. Okay, Uther Prent is the Starosta. I gave these elves pronouns because Matt didn't, so that's them. They are, all three of them are there, and the way the Ring of Three works is that it's sort of like a council of elders. These are all, right? These are all elves who like were adults when Meleismere fell. They're some of the older members of the community. They're known to be very skilled at some particular thing, whether that be magic or some craft or scholarship. They've kind of established themselves as community leaders, and the leadership rotates every few decades or so. Somebody rotates out and they get a new member, and they're kind of on like a 30-year staggered term of some kind. But these three have all been they've all been on the council for most of the time that Brent has been the Starosta. And yeah, they look not old, because it takes elves a really, really long time to look old, but like maybe almost middle-aged, like a very young, healthy middle-aged. And yeah, they're kind of yeah, it's weird. You're like, these elves are older, but are they? They're older than Atticora for sure. Probably older than Melidora if you had to guess. But yeah, they're all wearing kind of ceremonial robes. It's not ceremonial, but like they're wearing nice robes that are heavily embroidered in like a very particular Visayas Teal style. And they are standing in a little group by themselves, talking, looking nervous, maybe? Melidora is not on the stage, but she's next to it. She's one of the guards stationed like right next to the stage, just keeping an eye out. And near her is someone you have not seen or met yet. I don't think any of you know who this person is, but you can kind of, from the uniform, you can tell that they are the Watchmaster of the Visayas Teal Crowns Guard. Melidora talked about them a little bit yesterday. She said they had only been working here for a few years, but that he was tolerable from her perspective. Like, she didn't mind him that much, and she says she doesn't think he really approves of Uther's, like, super obvious anti-elf bias. But yeah, you see a male half-orc. He's probably in his late 30s, with short, dark hair, and he's wearing the uniform of the Watchmaster. He looks... his face is pretty hard to read. Like, he just looks kind of serious and businesslike and prepared. But he's looking around. He's surveying this whole area, looking very watchful. 8 out of 10. I mean, yeah, he's hot if you're into, like, big dudes. Big, serious dudes. Imbo adjacent. Yeah. Yeah, if he's like a smart one. A smart himbo. I don't know. That's not a thing. Right? Aren't himbos like kind of dumb? Isn't that a trait?
Yes, I think the official himbo trinity is like hot, dumb, respects women.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't know how many of these things this man is, but Melidora seems to think he's all right, so he probably respects women and also elves.
That's good. That's 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully he didn't get to this job by being stupid, though. One would hope. But it's the Empire, who knows? But yeah, those are kind of the important people that you can see up in the front. And then there's kind of a the booth, the Righteous Brand booth, has a little like mini force of just kind of regular soldiers. They're wearing, their nicest, like, their armor is super shiny. They've got like nice red cloaks on. And they're just sort of stationed around this. There's like 10 of them stationed around the booth. And then in the booth, you can see the two, presumably the people who are like the officers in charge of the recruitment. You see a female dwarf. She's about 40. She's wearing the like same sort of ceremonial silver and red armor as everyone else who's there. She looks very tough. She's jacked. Has some like minor scarring on her face, and she has thick dark hair that's in like some complicated braid situation. And then the other person who's with her in the booth is a male half-elf. He's probably in his early 30s. He's pretty tall, but not as big. He's like a little skinnier. But he is also looking very serious. And at least endeavoring to appear competent. That is the vibe everyone is trying to give. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the ratings. No one in the military is hot. So Sahara's only hot because she deserted.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Deserting super hot.
That is no, it is, I agree. There's a reason I made up an NPC who's a deserter. There's a plot on that. Anyway. Okay, so the crowd is not super quiet. There's sort of a subdued mood, but there's a lot of nervous murmuring going around. But it doesn't take much to quiet them down. You see the Starosta comes up to the front of the stage where there's a little, I don't know, a podium or something. And as he approaches, everyone kind of quiets down in anticipation of whatever the hell this is. And it's a pretty big square, but either the place where he's standing is like very acoustically suited, or he's just good at projecting, or there's maybe a little bit of magical enhancement to his voice. You can hear him like perfectly, even though you're almost all the way on the other side of the square. And yeah, he gives this sort of, I didn't write a whole speech for him or anything, but he begins this, what is clearly meant to be sort of a rousing speech about the dire situation the Empire finds itself in on the border, about the great need to retake the fortress in the Ashkeeper Peaks. The Ashgard Garrison? Yes, the Ashgard Garrison. And it gets a little bit pointed, he's kind of like, I know it doesn't seem very significant from all the way up here, but this war affects every corner of the Empire. And it is our highest duty to help protect and defend it. He manages to, sound kind of condescending, too, as he extols the values of patriotism and how the best and bravest thing to do is to come to the Empire's aid in its hour of need. It's very quiet during this speech. There is not really any cheering at all. Everyone just sort of takes it in. He doesn't seem unnerved by this. He takes all of this in stride, was probably expecting a reception like this. But yeah, he comes to the end of his speech. Right, exactly. And it's a cantrip, it's so easy. And yeah, as he concludes his speech, he steps back and makes way for one of the members of the Ring of Three. Which one did I decide was going to talk? Okay, so it's Alucis de Win. He's currently the most senior member of the council. He's the one who's been on the council the longest out of the three. So he's like the next one up for re-election, basically. Yep. You probably hear a heckler or two who gets like elbowed in the side and cut off in the middle of their sentence. The Starostas does not seem to pay any mind to this. Okay, yeah, Alucis de Win, who is, wearing his beautiful embroidered robes. He has very long, dark blonde hair. It's just in one long braid. And Adecora, you know that he is known for his wizardry abilities. He is one of the more powerful wizards currently living in Visayas Teal. Although since he got this job, he has kind of put his arcane studies on the back burner a little bit to be on the council. But before this, he taught magic and, helped with the large-scale enchantments on the city, the things like the heated stones and the roads, stuff like that. But yeah, he comes up to the podium. His speech is much shorter, a lot more neutral. It's clearly carefully calculated to upset as few people as possible. It's not as pro-army as the Starosta's speech, but there's definitely no absolutely no discouragement in there. He's kind of and we welcome these people to our city as our guests. Please listen to what they have to say, that kind of thing.
Can I see my mom?
Yeah, she's up there watching.
Regular expression, very plain expression, or
she's got her best poker face, which is not foolproof because your mom is not great at concealing her emotions particularly. But it seems like she's kind of channeling it into looking very stern and no nonsense. Like she doesn't really look angry, but she kind of looks like intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has her hand is just sort of messing with the hilt of her rapier, like it's just sitting on there. Yeah, and she and the Watchmaster are both like just looking all over the place still. They're kind of keeping an eye on all their individual guards stationed at their perimeter, like looking, seeing that everyone's there, looking up into the trees.
I know the speech is like already started, but when we got there, we had like, you said 15-ish minutes to...
Yes. Oh god, I forgot about detect magic. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I was also wondering if it would be possible to like make a circle around the square. I want to cast detect poison and disease and just like see if there's anything that's picked up. I don't know how large the square is.
Sure. Let me look at the spell real quick. This is not one that I am familiar with. Oh, I could just go into your character sheet. I don't really have to search for it. Okay, detect poison and disease. You can sense the presence and location of poisonous creatures and diseases within 30 feet of you. So yeah, 30-foot like radius around you, basically. Yeah, if you can make a sort of circuit of the square if you want. You don't sense any poison or disease.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you sense that someone is ill. I don't know. I guess they probably wouldn't
don't care
be there
about
if they
them.
were sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing that like seems dangerous.
Okay. I'm gonna there we go. All right.
Ophelia's little icon is snowing.
I know. I noticed that when I was doing other stuff. Yeah.
Cute. I love it. Okay. But yeah, you can make it all the way around before it gets rolling. And Timothy, did you want to cast detect magic in the beginning or the time leading up to the speeches?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. If you want to cast it as a ritual, I'm just gonna have you make a stealth check.
Yeah.
You can like try to go behind the building and do it if you want.
Can I bless? No, guidance.
You're not there. I guess if you want to do it before you leave, unless detect poison and disease is concentration.
It looks like it is concentration. It depends on when the stealth happens.
It's okay, because I got a nat 20.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. All right, what's the total?
22, I think. Yeah, my stealth is mild, but
that's great though. Yeah, you. Yeah, before any of this starts, you kind of go to the back of the garden, which wraps around the back of this structure. Former temple, current lecture hall. And there's nobody really back here at all. Everyone's kind of out in the front. Nobody's Nobody who's walking by is paying much attention. So yeah, you can just hang out here for 10 minutes and cast your spell as a ritual without being noticed. But by the time you're done casting it, it's about time for the speeches. Were you typing something?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Sorry, I was waiting for it and then the typing stopped. I was like, oh, never mind. Okay, are you going to go anywhere in particular? Or are you just going to kind of hang out in this spot with everybody else and see if you notice anything?
I think so, yeah. I'm gonna see if my detect magic gets any pings.
Okay. I think it's about, I think it's also a 30-foot radius around you.
Yeah, maybe I'll try
Yeah.
and like kinda make my way through the crowd a little bit.
Okay. Are you going around like Ophelia did, or are you kind of like going through the middle of people?
Um, hmm. I'll try and go around like where I can. But like not too far away because I think like the range is pretty small. so
Yeah, it's not huge.
so I'll try and get like kind of close-ish to the podium as much as I can without like
Okay.
shoving people out of the way.
Sure. Yeah, you sort of meander through the crowd. You notice the paving stones are magical. There are magical elements kind of in some of the trees and buildings. You recognize some of them. They're kind of um, it's not really your like specialization in artificery, but they're sort of like spells for the strengthening of structures. And then you notice a couple of items on people, but nothing too suspicious. Like a couple of people are wearing jewelry that seems to be magical. And as you get closer to the podium, um, you can get within 30 feet of the podium pretty easily. There is like a bit of a spell on it that is maybe helping project the speaker's voice to the entire area. You see um, the members of the Ring of Three all have a little bit of magical stuff on them. The wizard Elusis has. You can't really tell because it's under his clothing. It's like a piece of jewelry or something under his robes. But it seems like it's probably either like protective. Yeah, it's probably protective jewelry. It has like a little bit of what's the protection one? I forgot. Abjuration.
Ah, yes. Okay.
But yeah, there's nothing very suspicious. It just seems like stuff that important people who live in a society with a fair number of magic users might have, or might
Mhm.
even have made themselves. But yeah, nothing really, uh, nothing catches your attention as being dangerous or suspicious.
Okay, that's a good sign so far.
All right. Is anyone else doing anything during the speeches?
Not at the moment.
I don't have any spells to cast, so I'm just generally keeping an eye.
All
out.
right. Okay, make a perception check just for fun.
Cool. Well, the die this time.
I'm gonna have Sahar make one too. She's not great either.
16.
Okay, not bad. Sahar got an 8.
Been there.
Yep. Yeah, she seems distracted. Like, the longer this goes on, the more sort of nervous Sahar gets. And is kind of paying attention to what's going on up at the front, or up at the stage area, rather than keeping an eye around her. Let's see. Is there something fun Adipora can notice? Okay, so you, as Eleusis' God, what a name. Eleusis' speech is concluded, and there is not applause or anything, but there is some sort of like general murmuring after his speech. Like, it's not dead silent like it was after the Starosta's speech.
Mm-hmm.
But the Starosta kind of comes back up to the front just very quickly and introduces the two recruiters who are behind the booth. He just like says kind of their names and a little bit about their service to the Empire, like their, I don't know, some interesting battle that they fought in. But you learn that the female dwarf is named Vera Ironbur. And she is a decorated officer of the Righteous Brand. And then the half-elf, who's a little bit younger, is Jonas Arvedon.
Mm-hmm.
And he is from Odeslo, which is that like kind of little town that's the nearest major settlement to Bisaeus Teal.
Right.
But yeah, his story is basically like a regular kid from Odeslo, like went on to be a great officer, blah blah blah.
He's just like you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he probably like makes the point that he's like, oh yes, one of his parents is from Bisaeus Teal, something. So it's kind of that's the angle with Jonas. But as he finishes introducing them, Adakore, you happen to be looking up at one of the walkways up above. And you see sorry, I have to look something up because I didn't prepare this thing. Okay, you see a little bit of movement. It's very slight. You can't tell really anything about this person or what they look like, but there seems to be. It's like you almost see someone walk out um, onto a walkway, and then you see them vanish. Like all of a sudden, they're just not there, and there's not really anywhere they could have gone to. And then about 30 seconds later, actually less than that, about, let's see. About 6 seconds later, you see. Actually, you're kind of staring up at that point, trying to see what could, like, see if you can make out whatever was up there, if there's still someone like lurking up there, if you even saw anything at all. And you hear like gasps and screams, and you look back down to the podium, and you see the Starosta is almost blocked by, suddenly the air around him is just full of knives.
Oh.
And they're not, I mean, you are pretty familiar with daggers. You know what they do, what they're supposed to do. These daggers are not, they weren't like being thrown by someone. They're just sort of spinning in the air around the Starosta. And for a few seconds, everyone just sort of stares in horror as these behaving bizarrely daggers slash at him. And then after like a second of this, Elucis Dewin yells something and does a hand motion, and they vanish. And the Starosta collapses on the ground with like bleeding from a bunch of cuts.
Oh.
Okay.
And then all hell kind of breaks loose on the platform. Like guards start rushing up there. People are leaving. People are trying to get closer to see what happened. Like it's chaos.
Is there a way to get up to the walkway? If I just take off.
I mean, yeah, you can get up there. It was not like right above you.
Yeah.
It was further across the square. But you can find the nearest like way up, and you can get there eventually. It's going to take you a few minutes though.
Can I dash?
I mean, yeah, you
We're
can.
not in
You can
combat.
yeah, but you're a rogue. You can get pretty far in 6 seconds.
I'm dexterous.
Well, you have the bonus action.
I do.
Like you can take your action and your movement and your bonus action, which is what, 90 feet in a round?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, so you just fucking zoom up to that spot. It still takes you a few minutes to get up there just because it was kind of far away, and there's a lot of people in the way. I think this might be maybe not like full on difficult terrain, but you do have to you can't really get directly there because there are people panicking and running around, and you have to not bump into them as much as possible.
But there's no one visible up on the walkway.
No, you cannot see anyone.
If I, it's gonna look ridiculous. I don't have detect magic. If I leave my arms out, do I hit anything?
When you get up to that spot, no, you don't.
Is there anything around at all?
Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Since we just got fucking ditched by Adakora.
Yeah, you guys want to do anything?
I think, yeah, I tried to chase after him for like a round, but he's faster.
I didn't even know if you guys were sitting with us.
Antimony wasn't. Antimony, you're actually closer to the stage, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're just kind of you have a better view of what's happening, like the, everyone is sort of crowded around Starosta. Someone has, Eleusis is kind of, like leaning him up a little bit and, like, beckoning someone else over. Melodora actually is probably the closest person who has healing abilities. Ironically enough, because she is a ranger. And she's standing right there. So yeah,
and it's hurting her in her soul.
Right. Yeah, you see Antimony, you see Eleusis like beckon Melodora over, and she looks, she doesn't hesitate or anything, but she doesn't look happy, and she is very like clearly unnerved by this whole situation, but also mad. And yeah, she sort of gets on the stage and kneels down next to the prone body of this person and like does a healing spell, and he does revive a little bit. He's not really conscious, but he's breathing.
Okay.
Okay, if we were like patrolling and like adventuring or whatever, looking for shit, could I be near Antimony, I guess, if we like meet up? Because I guess when I was going for like around the square, I was hoping to aim for like the podium as well. I don't know if it was close, but
yeah, you can have tried to end up near it.
Yeah, and then can I tell what spell that just was?
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. Can I bless myself or guide myself?
Yeah, go for it. Your other spell your other spell's probably gone because it's been longer than... Actually, I don't know how long that spell lasts.
Bless. It's 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, it's gone since you cast it, like...
Her guidance is what?
Before
a D4.
the speeches. Yep.
D4. 26.
Okay. Arcana check. Yeah, this is not a spell that you can cast. It's not a spell that you really know anyone who can cast. Like it's not a cleric spell. It's a fairly low level though. You've just kind of probably when you were beginning your magical training, you just learned some general things about the different schools, and this is one of the spells that was talked about as an example of conjuration. It's just like a classic conjuration spell. It is called Cloud of Daggers.
Okay.
And it's pretty much what it sounds like. You can just make daggers appear spinning around a point that you choose.
Okay.
Anything that's in that area is slashed up. But it's a
Okay.
fairly low. It's a second level spell. It doesn't take a ton of study to learn it. But it is arcane. So a cleric or a druid or a ranger would not have something like this in their repertoire.
Okay. There's something else I want to do that might be kind of like intensive. Did anybody else want to do stuff first?
Yeah, well, Atticor, you were gonna look around the area.
Yeah, I got an 18 investigation.
Okay, 18. You head up there. It's I don't think this person left anything behind. But you probably see, let's see, what are the components on this bitch? Yeah, you see a couple of shards of glass sitting on the walkway.
We don't have a concept of fingerprints out here in D&D, so
I don't believe you do.
I gather them up. I do probably like have a cloth or something because glass is sharp, but
Oh, sure, yeah, you have cloth.
yeah, I'm not really worried about preserving the integrity of the evidence. I'm just picking them up.
Okay. Yeah, you find some little shards of glass. There's really no reason why they should be here. There's no glass around here. But yeah, you can't see anyone, and you didn't like run into anyone either on your way up.
Is there only the one way up?
No, there are probably a couple of different ways up. I assumed you just like went up the route that was closest to you, and then like ran along the upper walkway.
Yeah.
But there are other ways up that were closer to this spot, but that were farther from where you started, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'd imagine, like, there weren't guards and stuff, because I just got up here.
Yeah, there are some guards up on these walkways, but they're more spaced out than the ones down below. And sort of the small area that you covered, there were guards like with eyes on it and kind of running around this top area now, but you didn't run into any of them as you were getting up here.
Yeah. So it would have been, so anybody could have come from anywhere, basically, to get up here.
Pretty much. And yeah, this walkway keeps going. It branches off into other walkways. There are buildings in some of these places a little bit farther down. There's no like dead ends around here or anything.
Oh, fuck. Do I see my friends in the chaos down below?
You can probably pick them out if you look for them. You see Antimony just kind of near the stage. I don't know that you're doing anything really. Are you trying to get any closer or do anything, Antimony?
I think I am trying to like get a little bit closer. But also I guess I'm just kind of scoping out the passing crowd, like
Sure.
looking to sort of like see if anybody is acting shadily, you know?
Yeah, you can try to get closer. It's most people are heading away from that area, so it's kind of a tough go. And there also are starting to be more guards like surrounding it.
Yeah.
You probably aren't going to be able to get directly up to the stage because the Crown's Guard are sort of closing in. Make a perception check. I don't know.
Okay.
Sounds like perception.
That was kind of a shitty perception check. That's an 11. I think there's just too many people.
Yeah, you can't. Everyone is sort of reacting differently to this. Yeah, but this general sense is one of like panic.
Alarm, yeah.
Yeah, just a general sense of alarm from the people around you. You don't see anyone who's acting particularly strangely. And Adakora, you can also see kind of back by the garden, Eleni, who just looks like totally shocked. She's standing up on the bench trying to get a look at what's going on, but she's not getting any closer. Sahar has sort of she like ran forward a little bit initially when the spell went off, and now she's just kind of she's gotten out of the way of like the crowd leaving. She's just kind of standing near a tree somewhere on the edge and looking uncertain as to whether she would like to get closer or not.
Okay.
And then Ophelia, what are you doing?
Okay, is it possible? I think we just said it wasn't really. Is it possible to get within 30 feet of the podium?
Yeah, you can get within 30 feet.
Yeah, okay. So, how many people were on the stage? There were like 3 elders.
Yep, there
The
was a
Starosta.
The Starosta. They were the only ones actually up on the stage.
Okay.
Melodora and the Watchmaster were kind of like down on the ground, but right next to the stage, pretty much. So Melodora
Okay.
just like she's on there now. She hopped up there to heal.
Okay.
The Starosta, and I think the Watchmaster has by this point has kind of moved off and is like directing Crown's Guard, and sending some of them to circle the stage and some of them to head up or like fan out around the area to head up into the walkways. So he's not on the stage. He's busy and has moved off.
Okay.
But there are like 5 people up there now.
Okay. Watchmaster, Alice. Were there the recruiter people?
They were at their booth, which was right next to the stage, but they were not up on it.
Okay, they were just like
they've kind of sprung into action at this point, like them and their 10 soldiers that were with them. But I think they're just kind of taking direction from the Watchmaster. Like they've basically deputized themselves and are like, "Hey, where do you want us?"
Okay. So I check out check out whatever was cast, and then I would like to cast Detect Thoughts.
All right. Oops.
It's it's a long description spell, but it says
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah. It says, for each action, I can initially learn the surface thoughts of a creature. So I have 10 things I would like to scratch the surface on.
Okay, and this is with your feet, right? Or do you have this spell?
This is from the telepathic feat.
Okay. You can speak telepath. Okay, you can cast a detect thought spell requiring no spell slots or components. You must finish a long rest before you can cast it this way again. If you have spell slots of second level or higher, you could cast the spell with them. Okay, so you could cast
Oh,
it
okay.
multiple times if you used second level spells, but you have one casting of it without using a spell
yeah.
slot, basically. Wait, okay, what is the spell? For the duration, up to a minute. Okay, any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me what you're gonna do. Who are you going at first?
Near the end, there's also the paragraph. I can use the spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures I can't see, but that will be later.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I have a list. I want the three elder people. I imagine most of these reactions will be like, oh shit, but like, what if there's not an oh shit reaction?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're doing those three with just like their surface thoughts, right?
Yeah, all of these will be surface thoughts because I don't want to. Well, unless something changes, I don't want to let them know.
Right.
Because if I dig deeper,
Yeah.
they will know.
They'll have to make a wisdom save, and they'll
Yeah.
probably. Oh yeah, it says either way the target knows that you have put them into the line. Okay, yeah. Okay, so who are you doing first?
Alysis?
Sure. Okay,
Elusus?
so Elusus is. I was saying Elusus. but-
Elusus, okay. Elusive Elusus.
Matthew will say it, and it'll be completely different. Okay, yeah, you stretch out your telepathic ability granted to you by the goddess, and you sense Elusus de Wind's surface level thoughts. He looks pretty calm outwardly. Inwardly, he's kind of panicking. He recognized that spell much faster than you did. Pretty much instantly knew what that was. He's kind of like, oh shit, like that was an arcane caster who did that. Like whoever is involved in this, knows magic. It could be someone I know. And he's also like, thought like if I hadn't been here and dispelled the thing, this Starosta would be dead, and then we'd all be fucked. Like, he's kind of like the implications of what would happen if the Starosta was assassinated at this time in Visayas Teal is like, he's grappling with those implications
His
right
mind
now.
has like jumped 12,000 yards. He's like,
Yeah.
holy fuck.
Right, he's like, oh
Okay.
man, if this guy died, we would be so fucked.
Okay, and then Gwei.
Okay, Gwei, you don't actually know anything about these three. You've picked
Yeah.
up that Elusus is a wizard based on the spell casting and the surface dots. Gwei is kind of is here like standing near them, but is giving Melidora and Elusus and Uther space. They're just kind of watching. Kind of similar to Elusus, except they don't really know what happened. Like they can tell it was a spell, but magic is not something that they have studied really. They're just sort of like, okay, magic user.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, just nothing super coherent. They're just like, okay, a wizard tried to assassinate the Starosta. Okay, great, this is great. Like, and they're like trying to calm themselves down. in their mind, they're like, okay, it'll be fine. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. We can get this under control. It'll be okay. Like reassuring themselves.
Is the Starosta unconscious?
Sort of. At this point, he's kind of like half conscious. Like he's breathing, his eyes are opening a little bit, but he doesn't seem totally with it. I don't know how much you would get from him. You could try it, but he doesn't look super coherent right now.
Okay, I guess I'll skip for now. The third elder person. I'm looking. Alice's, no. I wrote many notes, but they're all together, so I don't know.
Yeah. Her name is Amra. It's up in there somewhere in the chat somewhere.
Amra? Yes,
I should
okay.
just make you guys an NPC list of everyone you've met.
Amra. Okay.
If you people took notes, you would have that list. Because I have a list of all the NPCs I've met.
Oh boy. I have a list with NPCs you haven't met yet. Amra is... Amra's mind is going like overtime. Like her thoughts are just racing. She's looking around. She's kind of doing calculations in her head. She's like, okay, that just appeared. It could have come from anywhere. She's looking around at the people near the stage. Like, could any of these people have been responsible? Did this person have an accomplice? Like, she's like, okay, I gotta ask Eleusis how all these spells work. Because she kind of, in her mind, she's not, like, super familiar with magic, but she has, like, a vague concept of, like, okay, there's ranges. Some spells, you can't have two of them up at once. Kind of. So she's like, okay, gonna talk to Eleusis, gonna figure out which spells this person was using, if they use, and how they work, like, how far away they had to be. Yeah, so she's kind of trying, she's like panic planning.
Okay.
And like trying to come up with theories about how this, what could have happened.
Okay. I think since she sort of mentioned it, I'll do the like searching for thoughts for like people I can't see. Okay. Now.
You can search for thoughts within 30 feet of you, can penetrate barriers. I mean, okay, so the thing about this spell is there are a lot of people within 30 feet of you.
I know. It's like...
and it's mostly open areas. Like, the only hidden areas within 30 feet of you are, like, probably, or, like, under the stage, maybe. So, yeah, you can see under there, or, like, under the booth, or maybe, like, near the entrance of the council building itself, but you are kind of out in the open.
I'm not within 30 feet, am I?
No.
Thank God.
You're not.
It would be fun if you were.
But I mean, I don't think you can see all of these people's thoughts. You could just tell
Yeah.
that they're there, right? So
I think I'd probably like aim for someone. I don't know. It's not very specific.
I think it's just within 30 feet of you. So I assume it's kind of a circle around you. I don't know.
I think.
But you don't.
Yeah, maybe if I could aim it, I would aim for around the podium,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I think you don't really sense anyone hiding
okay.
under the podium or anything.
Okay, so that was the fourth one. Okay.
And I think
Okay.
from where you are, you can't really hit the walkways.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay. Melodora.
Melodora, okay. Melodora is like just swearing internally mostly. Like she is so mad. She's mad that all of her preparations were thwarted by some asshole with a spell. She's mad that that's the Starosta almost died on her watch, and that is something that could be used against the people of Visayas Teal. She's mad that Uther is still alive and that she had to resuscitate him. She's just pissed, like, all around.
Okay.
Very, like, torn between, like, I'm gonna fucking kill whoever did this, and, like, I wish the Starosta was fucking dead, you know?
Why did this have to be in front of so many people? And why are my morals compelling me to help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. So that was...
It's
Okay.
like, yeah, like, she hates this guy, but if he dies, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. 2,
And she's
3...
mad about it.
Okay. The Crown's Guard leader? That was like a different person from the Watchmaster.
No,
it?
that's the
The
Watchmaster.
same person? Okay, that guy then.
Yeah, that's the title, the critical role official title of the head of a Crown's Guard force in any given city is Watchmaster. I know it's kind of confusing because I named the Visayas Teal Guard the Watchkeepers.
Oh,
That's
okay.
on me.
Yeah.
That's my bad. But their leader is just called the Captain, so I don't know, boring.
Oh, okay.
The Watchmaster, yeah, he's a little bit farther away, kind of in the opposite direction. He is still directing guards around and trying to, like, get everybody searching the place before too much time passes. He has kind of like a slightly... There's a little bit of panic, like, on the back burner, but he's mostly trying to distract himself and succeeding pretty well and, like, keeping his head. But yeah, he's like, okay, I can't panic, I gotta do all this stuff. So
Okay.
he is in business mode.
Okay. And then the Watchkeeper, I suppose.
That
If
was
they're there.
the captain of the Watchkeepers is not here.
Oh, okay.
Melodora is kind of the ranking member of the Watchkeepers.
Oh, okay.
Who was
Yeah,
in
that
charge
makes
of
sense.
security
All
for
right.
this event. Her immediate superior is not here.
Okay.
Doing something else. We don't know what.
All right. You know what? I have the slots. I'm gonna see what the Starosta's thinking.
Okay. Yeah, not much. The Starosta is just thinking about how much pain he's in, for the most part. He's very confused. He's very woozy. He doesn't really know where he is. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't get much out of him.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, are there like?
He's he's feeling a little better than he was 30 seconds ago, but not great still.
Does he feel resentment that it's Melidora that's there making him feel better?
I don't think he can even tell.
Okay. Okay. And then I think Antimony looked for shady people. I would also like to look for shady people, or like someone who looks in the crowd who's maybe not running away and like maybe looks sort of calm about everything, if there's anyone like that.
Okay. I think for this you would have to use one of your actions to make a perception check rather
Yeah.
than using the spell if you're going by sight.
Yeah. Okay. Do. Perception?
Yep.
22.
Okay. I don't know that you see anyone suspicious. You see a couple of people who are kind of not moving or like not getting out of the way fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
But they mostly look kind of shocked, like they're just sort of like, oh, like everyone's running around. I don't know what to do. There's nobody who looks particularly suspicious or surprisingly calm.
Okay.
Not who's like near you and in eyesight, at least.
Okay. Can I see Sahar?
Yeah, you can see Sahar. She's a ways away, just kind of on the edge of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
She has her hood pulled up. She's sort of, her eyes are like darting back and forth with like paralyzed indecision.
Okay.
She doesn't know whether to run in and try to. She's kind of looking at you. See, she sort of notices you. She notices Antimony.
Mm-hmm.
She looks back at Eleni, who you can see far away, standing on the bench.
Okay.
But yeah, she's just kind of keeping an eye on all of you guys and like torn on whether or not to get closer to you or to stay farther back or what.
Okay. Is there anybody else that some like metagaming pigeons think I should listen to for my last one?
Not really. I think the only people sort of interest, I guess, who are this close are like the recruiters. One of them has sort of gone off somewhere with their little group of Righteous Brand to like search somewhere that the Watchmaster sent them to. But one of them is kind of has stayed here and is like one of the people standing guard around the stage.
Okay.
I mean, probably it doesn't seem likely that they would be behind this, but you can check their mind. Everyone else who's around is really just like trying to get out of the way, trying to see what's happening, or they're just like a guard who has been ordered here or something.
Okay. I'll do the recruiters because otherwise I was going to do Antimony. And I don't think Antimony's behind it.
Yeah, if you want to do Antimony just for fun, like you can. But
Established again, I'm not within 30 feet.
I know.
no, you're not. You're not. You're like about 60 feet away probably from Ophelia, so.
Okay. And I don't even know where the hell, where like, I wouldn't look up, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think, you might have seen Adokora like, no, because you weren't standing by him, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have no fucking clue where Adokora is.
Okay. I'll be a polite team member and do one of the recruiters and not my friend.
Okay. Your mom's just gonna read your teammate's service thought.
Yeah.
Your coworker. Okay, the dwarf woman, Bera Ironbur, left with the rest of the group. The person who is standing guard close to you is the half elf, the younger man. He's just kind of standing where he's been stationed, looking around. He looks pretty grim. His thoughts are a little bit like he's upset and he's surprised to an extent, but he's also kind of like, I knew this was a bad idea. Like I told Bera something would go wrong.
He told who?
Bera, the other recruiter.
Okay.
He's kind of like, I knew some shit was gonna, like, this whole job was a bad idea, is kind of his thoughts at the moment.
Okay.
Like, trying to recruit Imbus Steel was a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. If Jonas says I told you so, I'm gonna punch him in the fucking face. Like,
Okay. That's 10 things I've done, so
okay.
the spell is done.
All right. Who's doing anything next? That only took a minute, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna come back down from the walkway, and
Okay.
who's closest to me at this point?
Probably Sahar.
Okay. And I will come up to Sahar.
Are you trying to be quiet or no? Are you trying to startle her? I'm just curious.
That's so mean. I'm not trying to startle her, but I am
Okay.
coming up behind her.
Okay.
Just because I feel like she's not looking for me.
She's really not. No,
So
when she saw where you went, yeah, she kind of stopped. She like saw you go up to the walkway and then like stopped paying attention to you. She was like, he's doing something.
Yeah, I was doing something.
Okay, yeah, she like jumps a little bit when she finally notices you. Oh, where did you go? Did you find anything?
Maybe. Nothing really useful right now, I don't think. Do you need to get out of here?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Where I feel kind of intimidating.
They're in closer to the stage. You can see them. They're both kind of standing there, like they're trying to observe the scenario.
Yeah.
They're pretty noticeable. Everyone around them is moving, and they're just kind of watching this intently. Honestly, they're the suspicious
Standing
looking
around,
ones.
casting spells.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ophelia's like looks like she's really focused on something.
Masters of stealth. And subtlety. I'm gonna say, all right, let's regroup, and I'm gonna go toward them.
Yeah, I'll head towards
Okay.
Antimony. Because I don't think I can do any more for the Starosta, and I don't think they let me up there.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're
we went
definitely not letting us up to the podium.
If we
Yeah,
went
I
up
think-
there now, we'd have to be like, we're with the Cobalt Soul, and then
Yeah.
that would be
Right.
a whole other hassle.
You'd have to be like, "That's my mom," or something.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
that might not work either. Who
I
knows?
think that's gonna restrict whatever we do from now on, not help us.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Okay, yeah. Sahar follows you. You hear her like swearing under her breath, but then she comes with you.
if the ladies look like they're gonna storm the stage, I'm going to discourage them from doing that.
No.
Oh, I don't really care enough about the Starosta to through.
You're like, racist guy, he can die.
Yeah, right. I'm not gonna push
Mhm.
through armed guards to get to him.
But it seems like Melodora has stabilized him at least, and they've probably gotten by this time like they're hustling someone else up there who's like maybe a more experienced healer, where it's not just like their secondary thing or their tertiary thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that situation seems to be under control.
I'm gonna herd them away. You guys are being really obvious. Come on, this way.
Okay, where are you guys going?
I don't want to leave Eleni high and dry, but I also don't want to include her in the conversation.
Oh no.
Sorry, Eleni.
She seems to have stayed out of the chaos, at least. Like she's still kind of over there watching, but is far enough out of the way. So she seems to be doing all right, at least for now. She's not getting trampled or anything.
I don't know. I just want to be somewhere a little less obvious.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you can kind of just head over to the side somewhere.
Yeah. If we like start going out of sight, I'm gonna not want to do that. I want to keep watching.
Okay.
We can stay inside.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just like get to a tree or a bench or some area where it would be normal for people to like stand and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assume everything's pretty chaotic right now. I just don't want to
Mhm.
standing like in the middle of the square.
No, you can like go to the edge and find a bench under a nice shady spot or something.
Okay. Can we also take a quick bathroom break?
Yes. I'm gonna get some water.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's the big
So your little group moves over to
Surprised
an
you didn't
out of
just
the
send it
way
all the
spot
way.
where you can kind of sit down, some of you, and discuss what just happened. And you're not in the way, and you're not suspiciously staring at all the important people.
So, since you guys were standing around obviously investigating, did you find anything helpful?
Mm,
Do I have to ask more nicely to get you to tell?
One day there'll be an investigation where you have to blow something up
Yes.
to find the clue.
I dream of a world where I can locate service of the mission.
Solve a mystery by blowing something up.
That is basically my function in this group. Just to blow things up so they don't kill the team members who can actually find things out.
I don't know. I don't think anybody important was involved with this. Based off of vibes.
Vibes, says Sahar.
Yeah.
What is that? Some kind of cleric thing?
Yeah. I don't know, just from like observations or whatever.
All right. I mean, why would any of them? I don't know why any of them would have any motive to do it.
People in politics are fucking weird.
Plenty of people have motive. I just don't think any of them are stupid enough to have done it.
I mean, your mother seems pretty lukewarm on the Empire, and even she was worried about there being trouble.
If
Think
my
you'll
mom
have a-
were going to assassinate someone, she wouldn't do it at the most volatile point of the day in public.
Right. I mean, they all seem to have a vested interest in this place not going up in flames.
Right, but I mean, the fact that they were worried about it at all does sort of suggest that there might be more going on in Visayas Teal than we know about.
I saw
Well,
someone up on the
obviously,
walkway.
there's.
Pardon?
I saw someone up on the walkway. And then they vanished. By the time I got up there, this was all there was, and I showed them the glass.
Does the glass look like it's part of something, like a jar or a vial? Is it like colored glass? Is it clear glass?
You remember from your Arcana check earlier that
A
shards
component.
of glass are, yes, they're the material component for this spell, Cloud of Daggers.
Okay. So it was cast from there. Whoever vanished did it.
Yeah. But we don't. That's all I know. I didn't get a good look at them. They vanished. They could have gotten in or out anywhere. It wasn't well guarded. Especially not if someone could be invisible.
Mm-hmm. Is
And we don't know if they were working alone.
yeah.
Ophelia, you know that the spell Cloud of Daggers is concentration, as are really any invisibility spells.
Okay.
So someone would not have been able to maintain invisibility on themselves and also cast Cloud of Daggers.
I relay this, but like, did this person vanish, or because there's like teleportation magics also, like Thunderstep?
Well, Thunderstep you would have noticed.
Yeah. I'm just like, what teleport spells would Ophelia know about?
Just the walkway just explodes.
Yeah.
Well, Adakora, you remember seeing, you saw a glimpse of this person, they vanished, and then the bell went off, is what it seemed like to you.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe you like passed the person.
Maybe.
That kind of sucks.
It's hard to tackle someone who's invisible.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to flail and hope you hit something. But
When it happened, were we able to perceive if Elusis counterspelled or used a spell to stop this?
While you were watching, it didn't seem like counterspell prevents a spell from being cast completely.
Uh-huh.
So it would be dispel,
Dispel
magic.
magic.
It was probably dispel magic, yeah, because the spell did have a chance to like do
Yeah.
a round's worth of damage before he stopped it.
But he did stop it.
Yep,
Okay.
pretty much as quickly as he possibly could have.
Mhm.
But yeah, to counterspell, you also have to be able to see the person who's casting it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know if we should go looking for someone. I'm sure the Crownsguard are on it, but we could also do it. But, I mean, whoever it is might be long gone from this point.
I mean, if you're trying to help catch them, or do you want to go tell the Crownsguard what you saw? Or tell your mother at the very least, Adakora?
I'll tell my mother. But I don't want to... I don't want to make us very visible to the Crownsguard.
Fair.
Just like tell her with magic. I don't know if I know that he can do message.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just going to wait till later and tell her in person. I feel like that would be kind of distracting right now.
Maybe, but she's like done healing. It might be. I don't know. She seems kind of mad.
What's she doing now?
At this point, she's probably gotten, made way for the more experienced healer, and turned the Starosta over to them. And I think she has left the stage and is probably talking to the Watchmaster.
Because, I mean, we could tell her later, but it seems like it would be most important to know the most information right now, as opposed to whenever later is.
Well, she's talking to the Watchmaster right now. I could send her a message. It would be so annoying. You're talking to the Watchmaster, and your son's voice in your head goes, Mom, 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 I have something to tell you. Mom, this is
Knowing Melador, she would not be able to pretend that wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, I'm imagining this playing out. I'm like,
Yeah.
bad idea.
She'd be like, shut the fuck up! And the Watchmaster would be like, excuse me.
This is a sitcom.
Yup.
Tell her sooner rather than later, but not the second.
And Timony's like, I almost got gored to death by wild boars the other day.
And you didn't see him making a big deal about it.
And I was...
Like, how many healers does one man need?
Yeah, the area has really emptied out by this point. There are still people milling around, but the most of the crowd has bailed. And the stampeding is kind of dying down at this point.
I wonder if it would be useful to kind of, I don't know, scope around the city just to kind of, I don't know, like if people have gone into, like, you know, cafes or whatever to talk about what's going on, maybe it would be useful to eavesdrop on some people. Just kind of get a sense of what the locals are saying about this.
Yeah. I can, like, if we don't want to get super close to people, I can also, I think, read lips, like, generally, so we can, like, not be as suspicious, depending.
Ophelia just has to stare at people.
Yeah.
I do
That's the
have
unfortunate
disguise
thing.
spell.
Ooh.
I could
Mm.
just like make myself look like a very generic elf and just kind of hang out, you know?
That's true.
Make those ears just a little longer and pointy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so you guys want to investigate this by yourselves?
As opposed to what?
I don't know. Let the grounds guard do it, or the local guard.
Remember when we were talking earlier and you implied that the Cobalt Soul kind of has a nosiness problem?
Yeah, that's true. All right. So I was like, I'm not a protagonist.
Yeah, imagine if we were just like, it's not any of our business. We're going home. Isn't that what we did?
Not kind of do that with the first dungeon.
You did do that.
It's only gonna work so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could leave. Who knows what'll happen next if you do, but...
I'd get fired.
You do get fired.
Oh, yeah, by the trust, probably.
Yeah. You mean you just left?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Like, someone tried to assassinate a Starosta and you just left? Without getting orders from us? Okay. Sahar is kind of like, okay, yeah, you have a point. I don't think I'll be much help in terms of going unnoticed and listening to people. But if you need help with anything else, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
You see Melodora, she looks like she's having an argument with the Watchmaster. It's an argument, like they're both trying to not draw attention to the fact that they're having an argument. So it's like a very scaled down one. But like she's clearly like she's like kind of whisper yelling at him, probably. And then after a little bit of that, she leaves and goes to. She kind of goes over to some of her subordinates and is talking to them.
Lots of staring at Adhikara.
I'm waiting. I don't know if you've ever, like, been waiting to get your mom's attention, like, after church when she's talking to her friends. But you can't just jump in there. You gotta wait.
It's easy. You just walk up to her and then stay there until you're acknowledged.
I don't have
Just
to walk
stand
up to
in her
because
line of
I
sight.
have
Yeah.
message. Sometimes, no, what I used to do is I used to say Sarah to get my mom's attention instead of mom.
Yeah, that's good, actually. That makes sense. Oh my God. Just be like Melodora.
Right. Wait for her to turn around. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. After a while, she talks to some people. She sends them off somewhere else.
Yeah, okay. I'll cast message.
Okay.
I'll just say whoever cast the spell was on the walkway, but they vanished.
You see her kind of like stop. Like she's clearly like reacts visibly to that. She was not expecting to hear your voice in her head. And she looks around and finally sees you and kind of narrows her eyes at you a little bit, like, okay.
Listen.
And then she says, well, that's more information than we had.
Give her a little two-fingered salute.
Are you hanging back or trying to stay
Is
out
that
of
you
this?
asking me or her asking
That
me?
was her, yeah.
Okay.
And then she runs out of message response time.
Right. Yeah, are we hanging back? And my friends, hey, are we hanging back?
She's like, I'm 120 feet away. Like, you could come over and talk to me. But if you don't want to be seen, like, getting mixed up in this, you can stay away. It's fun. She's just kind of like, okay.
Message again. I don't think that would be the best idea. Or I don't think going over there is what I was thinking. She asked if you're hanging back, then I think staying over
Yeah.
here is a better idea. So.
All right.
A woman of many words, my mother.
Yep. She also says, I'll just tell Golam I got an anonymous tip. He'll love that. And she walks back over to the Watchmaster.
anonymous tipping via message.
Right, yeah.
They don't have phones, but you can use your
Mhm.
little walkie-talkie. And
Yeah. I mean, if she
Sort of
didn't
like
recognize your voice, it could have been like for real anonymous.
that's true. That's true.
You just have to like telepathically think your message in like a goofy voice.
Yeah.
Mental voice disguiser technology.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So I say, all right, she knows. She didn't have anything to add to us.
Do you think anybody can find anything out from that glass he found? I don't know how magic works. Can it be traced back to the owner? This is Sahar.
I don't know. I don't do magic.
Do I know any magic that could do that? Or rather, do I know of any magic that could do that?
You remember doing something kind of similar. It was a different situation. But you did use Johanna Meisner's shoelace to find the other shoelace with
That's true.
with
That
locate
was like
object.
a matching.
It was, yeah. So you don't really like maybe if this person if they got the shards from the same object, potentially something like locate object could work. Like if they smashed a jar
That's
and they're
kind
using
of yeah. That's kind of what I was asking
using-
about.
pieces of the same jar. Yeah, the shards are pretty small. You can't really tell what they came from, but it's possible whoever is using these spell components like smashed something and is using the same shards,
If
which could work with locate object. You're not totally sure, but
have we seen antimony? You've like mended stuff, right? Would you be able to like connect these shards of glass in a shape that might make more sense?
How many shards of glass are there?
there's like 3. They're pretty small. They're they're not like they're big enough that you can hold them and see them, but they're not like Alakora had to kind of look for them. They weren't super big and obvious.
Was this an adept spellcaster? Like, was there care taken to not like cut their fingers on this glass?
There's no blood on the glass.
Okay.
They probably didn't smash it while they were up there. Like they probably
Mhm.
had a pouch full of glass shards that they were using as components or something.
I shudder at the idea of like putting your fingers into a glass pouch, but
Right. This is my bag of glass.
yeah.
Separate from my other bags, so I don't just reach in there and cut my finger whenever I get a spell component out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
I could try to locate glass, but I would have to do that tomorrow. Because I don't have it today.
You could connect the shards with mending, but that would probably make like glass the size of a quarter all together. Like if you put them all together. Like a quarter if it was oblong.
Oh no.
and jagged.
Would we get the sense of it being like a slightly rounded, like maybe it might have been like a tube,
A what?
like a test tube?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to mend them.
I'll give it a
maybe-
try.
You
It
can. Yeah,
can't hurt.
and well, what this will tell you too is that they do all fit together. I think you can't, if you cast mending on something, it doesn't just like stick random things together if they weren't part of the same object.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can tell that these pieces are from the same original object, and it has a very gentle curve to it, like a very slight curve. Not something as extreme as a tube, but maybe like
A
a
vial?
bowl or a plate,
Oh.
like that kind of. It could be from like the bottom of a bowl, maybe,
Is it
or
like
the side of a bowl.
A round flask.
opaque?
No, it's clear.
Okay. We just go to all the inns and ask if maybe they've lost a bowl in their inventory. Yeah, when I was preparing for today, I kind of went for like protection from assassination spells. I wasn't planning on searching for a shoelace, so to say. So,
Well, we can hold on to this.
mm-hmm.
Fuck.
And Atacor, you know that glass isn't like the most common thing here, especially for dishes and stuff. Like the average person doesn't own like a full set of glass dishes. Wood is a lot more common for just like regular people. It's fancier stuff. It's used for windows a lot. Like glass is manufactured here in Besayastiel, but it's kind of an art thing a little bit more, or it's used to make stuff that like needs to be glass, like mirrors and windows, rather than dishes.
I will pass that info along.
Arrest everybody who owns glass.
It's a luxury item.
Is it like generic clear glass? Is there like no possibility of like a pattern on it?
It doesn't look deliberately patterned, no.
Okay.
It's pretty good quality. Like pretty flat and clear. There's not like flaws in it. Oh my god.
Okay, then should we go and haunt some local places?
Some local taverns or something.
Yeah. I kind of want to stay and just like watch suspiciously until everybody clears out. But
I don't think whoever did this will probably hang around, or has been hanging around. Again, I didn't tackle anyone on the walkway.
no, but I still want to kind of see the fallout, like if people are like aggressive to each other, or if there's like palpable suspicion between like was there palpable suspicion between Melodora and the Watchmaster?
Like that either of them were suspicious of each other?
Yeah. As they were like conversing or whatever.
Oh, when they were arguing?
Yeah.
Make an insight check.
Okay.
A retroactive insight check.
Okay. Natural one. All right.
Oh no.
Yeah, you don't know. They were arguing, but you
Yeah.
couldn't really tell why.
Yeah, I want to see if anything like political happens. I don't want to see if there's like, they come back for a second try. I don't think if whoever this was knows that this one person is like a wizard or whatever, a magic caster, then I don't think they would try such a flashy presentation if it wasn't just meant to be a message and not an actual assassination.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit impractical for an
Yeah.
assassination.
I would have gone for like maybe poison, maybe like a magic dagger or something that like gets stabbed. Some kind of beetle that inflicts death upon touch. I don't know.
Beetle?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad they didn't consult you. Planning stages.
I know. I'm so good at being evil.
But you're probably right.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have expected it to succeed,
Yeah.
especially in public.
So now people are gonna be like upset at each other or whatever. And maybe there'll be fights and stuff going on. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe they're building up to something else.
Maybe. That's true. It
They
could just get
certainly-
worse.
They certainly succeeded in fucking up the beginning of this recruitment effort.
Yeah. Maybe they were like trying to garner sympathy for the Crown's Guard. They're being like, look, the war has come to your door. The Starosta has been attacked. Are you not going to defend your country? And then everybody will be like, oh no, I'll go sign up to stop this from happening again to my tiny town. It's not really tiny, but it feels secluded. You know? Or maybe it was like meant to be like, no, fuck you, we hate the Starosta and the people. We don't want to do this. We're rebelling. We need like oppression to come to our town, and like for our sentiments to be stifled, and for us to be like an obedient little town or whatever. I don't know.
If I had to guess, I
Speculate
would
some more.
say whoever did this doesn't like the Starosta.
Yeah. It could just be a hate crime, I suppose.
Lots of people don't like the Starosta.
I don't think
It's not
I
a
don't think
hate
that's
crime,
the
just-
definition of a hate crime.
No.
It's not a hate crime just because you hate him. Everyone.
Right. That's not what that means.
Yeah. Okay, fine. It could be a crime resulting from hatred of the Starosta.
Personally dislike them. I don't
Yeah.
think that's like
It's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
I'm actually that's also not what that means.
no. Okay, this is clearly an assassination. It had to be politically motivated, right? Says Sar.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
it was kind of like a show, so
yeah, those fucking daggers everywhere.
yeah. The person wouldn't have to be very skilled to be able to cast that spell.
Really?
I think so. I think it's. If I were like a person who could cast that magic, could I do it by now? Is it a second level spell?
It is, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I could do it if I was a wizard,
Oh.
but I'm not, so cross me off the suspicion list.
Will do.
But yeah, it doesn't need a lot. Do I know if like teleportation magics require, or invisibility or teleportation magics require a certain amount of skill? Should
Make
I?
another Arcana check.
Okay, I will.
Because I don't think you can cast any of these spells.
No. I can't even cast Dimension Door. Jester's
Nope.
signature teleport.
I know, I was bummed when I played a non-trickster cleric
I
and found out
know.
I couldn't cast Dimension.
Unnatural 20.
Okay. I'm gonna look up all the spells. Hang on. Okay. So you got your basic invisibility spell, which is a second level spell. Yeah, it's a bard, wizard, sorcerer, warlock kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It is concentration. And you know that the basic invisibility spell ends if the person who is invisible casts a spell.
Yeah. So it probably wasn't that, unless Adakora like looked away and they just like weren't seen by him anymore. But you were looking pretty closely, right?
Yeah, I think you were looking up at that spot when the spell was cast because you didn't see this. You didn't see the knives appear. You looked back at the Starosta and the knives were there.
Yeah.
There are more powerful invisibility spells where you can remain hidden while doing anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, greater invisibility is a 4th level spell.
And that's like level like 6 or 8-ish.
I don't remember.
So if they wanted to
I want to say 8, but it might be a little
Yeah.
earlier than that.
if they like wanted to stay invisible, like if Adakora wasn't like looking away or anything, then it would have had to be a slightly more powerful caster, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you also know that this person couldn't have remained invisible if they were casting invisibility on themselves. They couldn't have been invisible and cast Cloud of Daggers because those are both concentration spells.
are all of the invisibility spells concentration?
Those 2 are, yeah. I don't know if there are other ones.
Okay. So this person is probably just like a genius or something, I don't know.
they had an accomplice.
Yeah, I guess they could have an accomplice as well. That's a secondary thought that might have happened.
Okay, as far as teleportation goes, the simple stuff, there's Misty Step, which is a 2nd level spell. Hang on. It's also a bonus action, it's very quick. It's not concentration. Basically, you just teleport 30 feet away.
Mm-hmm. But that's probably not it either if the glass was at that spot. Because that implies that they would have had to cast the spell first and then vanish, which I don't think was what Adakora saw. It was invisibility first and then spell.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
I mean, I guess if they had an accomplice, then that person didn't have to be the one to, like, strictly cast the spell, but was it only the one person up there that you saw? Was the walkway otherwise empty?
I only saw one person.
Maybe they were, like, hiding off in the wings or something, I don't know. And then I also had a question about Cloud of Daggers, if I would know if the spellcaster has flair, I suppose, for the spell. Like, were the daggers just, like, you could see them at an adventuring store, or were they ornate? Were they, like, special in some kind of way? Were they all sorts of different types of daggers? Is there, like, one that might have stuck out to me and, like, I keep a lookout now for, like, people with daggers at their sides that look suspiciously like this dagger?
No, they were all the same, roughly the same looking dagger. I think it was a pretty generic style, but it was like a pretty distinctly Visayas Teal craftsmanship, but not fancy. Like you would see a lot of people with daggers like these around this city.
Do we see a lot of people who aren't from Visayas Teal, like the Crown's Guard with Visayas Teal daggers?
No, no. But the watchkeepers have daggers of like a similar style.
Okay.
The Crown's Guard have, I think, pretty standardized weaponry. Like the Crown's Guard here have the same style of weapons as the Crown's Guard in Rex and Trum.
And then do I know if the daggers looking like that are a conscious choice or something that just happens because their association with these daggers means that's what the dagger looks like?
I mean, this isn't really in the rules of the spell. I think you could probably make the daggers look like whatever you wanted to. But yeah, if you're not really thinking about it, it probably just is like the first mental image you have of a dagger is what comes out.
So basically, they're either from Visayas Teal or they're not. Which
I mean, those are the two options.
Or they're just very cleverly trying to pin this on someone, like on people from Visayas Teal. I don't know.
Are people still dispersing? Is there anything going on now?
People are still dispersing. The guards have mostly kind of fanned out and disappeared into the streets and up into, you do see a bunch of them have kind of, more have split off and have been sent up to the walkways, probably because of Melodora. But there's not as many of them in the square now. There's still like a normal amount, plus some extra ones kind of around the stage. But up on the stage, the Starosta is looking much better. He's like conscious and is standing up a little bit shakily. And it looks like they're getting ready to like take him, home or whatever, somewhere that he can rest.
Okay.
As you guys kind of hang around here and try to make up your minds what to do, you are approached by a pair of Crownsguard. They just kind of come up to your group. They look very serious, but they don't have like their weapons out or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, one of them says, "Excuse me, did you see?"
This is the end, boys.
Are you witnesses to what just happened?
Yeah, we were in the crowd.
All right, we're trying to collect statements from as many people as possible. If you could come with us, please. We're about to go to tree jail.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Give them a look like just stay calm.
Alright.
Just chill out.
We'll go with the cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Sahar look calm about this?
Sahar looks resigned.
Uh-huh.
She's just kind of like got her hands in her pockets. She's looking down at the ground. But yeah, you are led off by this pair of Crownsguard in the general direction of the place where Melodora and the Watchmaster are just kind of standing, still coordinating things. And I think I'm gonna end it there because I am exhausted.
Mhm.
Fair enough.